It finally happened. The Zionists have turned on Piers Morgan, a guy who's had their back for the better part of 2 years while they've committed a genocide. Now they've turned on Piers Morgan. The order has been sent out. Zionism is no longer profitable. So when it became unprofitable for Piers Morgan, he switched. That's the assessment. So you know what this means, Zionists? I just want to give you a heads up. What this means is that all your power is gone everywhere, all at once, and the ones who are slow to figure that out are the ones who will feel it the worst. But you know, by the time they allow a puppet like Piers Morgan to shove his own hand up his own ass and take control of his head and criticize Israel, it's time to go back to Poland. It's time to go back to Poland. BB Milikowski. The elites have now turned on you, not because you're evil, but because you're inept, stupid, and insane at being evil, and you blew it. You embarrassed the ones at the very top, making you the weakest link. So here, you want to hear? So here he is. Here's Piers Morgan doing some of his work.
I was told by the ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children in this war.
I don't believe that was the case. I think it was to do with targeting children.
No. Here it is. So here is the ambassador from Israel going to call it a blood libel. Watch.
A few days ago, you have 2 doctors in Gaza who have 10 children, and 9 of them are killed in a bombardment by your forces. That doesn't make people feel, oh, this is all going great. It makes people think that you're waging a systematic destruction, not just of property and of land, but also of children. And that's what's happening. The percentage of children that you're killing compared to the percentage of you're killing of Hamas terrorists, what is it? Do you know? Do you know how many children you've killed? Hang on. Answer me that one question. Do you know how many Hamas terrorists you've killed and how many children you've killed? Do you know those 2 numbers?
I know the numbers that came from the IDF. I know the numbers that came from a very, very established
Give me the 2 numbers. Give me the 2 numbers.
Wait a second. We killed 30,000. We killed 30,000 terrorists in phase 1 of the war. Since the war is back, I don't have the numbers. But let me tell you one thing. We never target civilians. So this question is irrelevant.
How many children have you killed?
Piers, Israel is not killing children. Israel is not killing children. Hamas is using them as human shields.
Israel is killing children every single day.
Piers, this is a blood label you're putting on Israel. You know it's not true.
What? No.
So there it is. They accused Piers Morgan of a blood libel. And so, and her defense is because I said so. That's it. That because I am a certain. That's it.
Listen,
go ahead.
Piers is the ultimate submissive to power. Do you know how much of a kinky pervert you have to be for him to walk out of the orgy on this?
Right.
For him to go, this is wrong.
Yes.
You are demented, because Piers he'll carry water for almost anything. Remember when what's his name says, Tucker goes, it's kind of wrong to kill children. He goes, is it?
Is it? He said it's war, so you get to kill children. That's how bad it's gotten, that even Piers Morgan is now flipped on Zionism, because it's not certainly it's not profitable anymore for him.
Word is out.
Word is out. So
that's what that means.
So let's watch him do it here.
I was told by the ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children in this war.
I don't believe that was the case. I think it was to do with targeting children. There is a difference.
Right.
Because we are hearing that Israel is targeting children, and that couldn't be further from
the fact. Last week, 9 out of 10 children in one home where 2 doctors reside were killed in an airstrike. What was that?
Remarkable.
Well, what was that?
That has been based only on the basis of hearsay.
You don't believe that story?
Information. I want these stories.
Wait a minute. You don't believe that those children were killed?
I have seen conflicting accounts, and I want that story to be properly investigated before the international media runs with it.
You think those 2 parents, one of whom I think operated on one of the children?
I have a question.
You think that those 2 doctors, the parents, they just made it up?
Why are
that
those
9 of their
there?
10 children had been blown to pieces by an Israeli airstrike?
If this is true,
you don't believe it.
Well, why on earth was artificially generated imagery used to promote this story when it first happened.
I've got to say, Natasha, I think what you've just said about that family is despicable.
We've seen time
I'm sorry, it's despicable.
Blood libel?
Somebody, you talk about blood libel, like Dave said, you talk about blood libel, you talk about lies,
all I said,
you talk about promoting propaganda, and here you sit here as a lawyer and you say that you do not believe those 9 children were killed.
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth.
Do you believe it or not?
I said that there were conflicting
accounts. Do you believe it?
And it needs to be investigated.
Do you believe it?
I thought you would be the
parents said 9 of their 10 children were killed. Do you believe them or not? Or did those 2 doctors make it up?
They haven't said that directly as far as I have seen. I have seen second-hand accounts and hearsay. But it's important to ask, why are these civilians still there? Why is it that
it's important to ask whether you believe that family have lost 9 of their 10 children.
I want to know why the international community...
Do you? You don't. And this goes to the point that I would say about Israel generally now, in this war now. Israel says they don't believe anything. Every story that comes out about the deaths of civilians in Gaza,
because there is
someone will pop up representing the Israeli government saying, it's propaganda, it's not true, I've heard it's not right, I've heard it didn't happen.
So there's Piers Morgan flipping on Zionists and Israel. And I know everybody's waiting for Michael Rappaport to be the next one to flip. Imagine being forced to like Michael Rappaport again because he did that.
You know, he was always good and stuff. In fact, in Fallout, the series, he's great in that. He's such a scum. And I was talking to my buddy Johnny Pemberton on the show, and he was like, yeah, nobody knew. Like, he just came and did his job, but like, Michael Rappaport's horrifying, and he's definitely being paid. That's 100%, I promise you, he got paid. Hasbro money.
And so here is the Zionists turning. So they already called Piers Morgan a blood libelist because he's saying that they're killing children. I think we can now officially declare Piers Morgan is an anti-Semite, says this Zionist genocide defender. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Oh, when does it become official? Will that be on my tattoo?
Zionism and Judaism are not the same thing, although the Zionists want to conflate them. Because then they could call any criticism of Zionism anti-Semitism. But Zionism is to Judaism what the KKK is to Christianity.
That's a great way to put it. I've
been followed. So this is, I don't even know, Amical Chikiti says, I've been following Piers Morgan's interview since the beginning of the war. From the outset, it was clear that, like most Western media, his basic inclination was pro-Palestinian. Oh my God. But he appeared to maintain a relatively fair and balanced line. Since then, however, I've witnessed a sharp and troubling descent into overt anti-Semitism. So they're just calling him anti-Semitic.
That's insincere.
So
that's actually a great T-shirt. Actually,
describe Piers Morgan in 2 words: anti-Semite. There it is, and they put him in
one word.
That is one word. That's one word.
I need a T-shirt of that.
So that's
God, look at.
And he's wearing, what is that called? That a kafir? What is that called?
You know what? A kafia or something.
Kafia? I think it's called the kafia.
I don't want the anti-Semite on the forehead for the T-shirt. I just want Piers Morgan in this kafia, in this hijab. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
So it's time for Zionists. You have to face it. Nobody likes you. And the ones who pretend to like you are just scared of you. They're afraid to lose their jobs, the ones in Hollywood. But all that fear is now going away, and you don't have a plan B. And if anyone should have a plan B, it should be someone who keeps talking about raping everyone else.
Probably stand-up comedy, I guess.
Here's another one. Zionists had no issue with Piers Morgan being rude and arrogant for 2 years, cutting off anyone who dared show receipts of Israel's genocide by screaming, "But do you condemn Hamas?" That was his refrain. But the moment he turns that chaos energy on them, it's all tears and tantrums. Here's what
I'm with Piers.
I
didn't want to be on this side. I'm prejudiced like a good person against Muslims. Israel screwed up. If Piers can't do this show, your venue sucks.
So it's hard to pick a winner in this one. Piers Morgan or Zionists. There's nobody really to like on either side. Sort of like a modern streaming service series. Nobody's saying that Piers Morgan has come to the light. More than likely, his masters are testing the waters by throwing him into it and seeing what attacks occur. He's nothing but bait in the water. Maybe that's why they call him Old Chum at a men's club. Am I right?
Same as that guy, Bob Villain. Same thing. It's the same principle.
Bob Villain.
Villain, yeah.
So Dave Smith says, it's fascinating to watch what's happening to Piers Morgan right now because he has built one of the biggest platforms in the new media world, but it's a cycle that I've witnessed countless times. Typically, someone who has spent their entire life being generally pro-Israel, seeing them as the good guys in their conflicts, will have a moral issue with something Israel does. They just go too far. In this case, it was the 3-month complete blockade of food and aid to a civilian population that has already gone through over 20 months of brutal siege and bombardment.
That's my friend, the Jew Dave Smith, telling the truth about that, by the way.
That person, in this case is Piers Morgan, is then viciously smeared for the crime of speaking out against something unconscionably wrong. On top of that, you are subjected to the most absurd propaganda, denying that the atrocities ever happened, all while people at the highest levels of the Israeli government brag about it. The only response is to insult your character and your intelligence.
Well, just like America.
Just like America.
Before you're too hard on Israel, remember, your country is even worse than them. You see how bad they are?
Yeah.
The one you live in is more devilish than them. So don't ever put it all on the Jews because your fuckbag country is satanic. Israel's like a little brother, and they suck.
So Piers Morgan isn't a bad person. He's just multiple decades late to understanding something that the rest of us already knew. So just don't be mean to the slow kid. That's what I'm saying. Dave Smith says, of course, this has the effect of pushing people to oppose Israel even more, as you recognize how comfortable the pro-Israel crowd is with lying and smearing people. As I've said publicly many times throughout the last 2 years, I am still shocked at these tactics. Israel seems to have the worst PR strategy imaginable. It's as if they are hell-bent on making the world hate them and possibly Jews in general while they're at it. That certainly seems what they're trying.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
they are.
Because their fuel is anti-Semitism.
How do you power a golem like Israel? See, Dave's not religious, right? But Israel's based on like racial. I used to dance around this for years because a lot of my friends are, I was with an Israeli girl a long time. And so, if you love people, you want to overlook certain things, right? Well, it's a eugenics thing over there. Because if you're too religious, you'll condemn Israel because they don't live up to the reasons God gave them that land. But if you're too secular, you're not going to be able to be moved by the religious argument. You're just going to see it for what it is if you want to, which Dave does.
And Israel's never going to do the thing it has to do to save itself. It has to say that they were wrong, and but they never will. So they're not going to save themselves. They're not. It's their pride. It's like chewing gum. It's going to attach to anything smart or stupid. So they attach their pride to genocide. Just remember, for down the road, your pride destroyed you. And, here's, this whole thing about
fear more than anything. The fear, it's fueled by fear. Think of the stupidity of this. Israel keeps Jews safe. It objectively does not do that. It has a policy not to do that. If you get grabbed hostage, they're going to Hannibal directive shoot you so that you can't be used politically. And then you're going to have your family saying dumb shit like, Israel has to do anything it has to. Friends of mine have said it to my face, but Israel is little, so it has to do whatever, like Joe Pesci. It has to do anything. Oh, really? Anything? Like trafficking American children in a sex trafficking blackmail scheme? Is that kind of anything? I don't think I'm on board for that.
So I think, I don't know if you've heard that. I've heard whispers that Donald Trump has a plan. And his plan, he's gonna turn Gaza into a huge water park with a huge water slide, and the water slide just drops you off in Egypt.
That's better than the water, which is full of sharks because they dump goat carcasses in it.
Yes.
Anybody who knows anything about the area would be able to tell you that. Notice how he's saying nonsense things.
Can I have a pen? Thank you.
Dude, my friend, Jimmy, a friend of mine, Yoni, who works on the Kill Tony show, was trapped in Israel. Remember how Israel is saying, come visit Israel right now? It's a great time because it's safe and we're winning. But they're not winning. So they tried to keep American Jews with passports. They tried to keep them hostage. Bibi was trying to hold Jewish hostages so Trump would have to do what he said. That's a fact. My friend, you know how he got out of Israel? Because they closed down the airport so the Jews can't leave. Luckily he comes from money, so he got a boat and they had to sail like 1,500 miles away. So everybody else was trapped as a hostage by Israel during the 12-day fake war.
Okay, there you go. The Zionists have now turned on Piers Morgan. It's not going well for the Zionists. I'm telling you, they really need a new PR strategy because they're losing. Hey, if you watch this show, you already know the media lies for the establishment nonstop. They lied about Russiagate, Ukraine, COVID, the lockdowns, all of it. That's why I keep partnering with Ground News. Their app and website make it super easy to compare media coverage from all over the world in one place. It's actually very handy. Like on Trump saying Zelensky is prolonging the war by refusing to cede Crimea to Russia. Well, if you go to Ground News/JD, you'll get instant access to nearly 600 articles covering it worldwide. Ground News will even tell you if each reporting source has a political bias, how reliable the reporting is, and if they're independently owned or corporate controlled. They'll even show you where news sources are based. It's a super helpful way to see how UK media says Trump's walking into the Kremlin trap. Kiev points out they're under missile attack, and antiwar.com says Zelensky is actually the one holding things up. 3 different versions of the same story, and exactly why you can't just take the first headline you see as fact, especially when Trump's involved. You know the media is going to twist it into whatever it fits their agenda, so I can't recommend enough following the Ukraine war and even politics on Ground News. Check your blind spots and find the stories missing from either side of the political spectrum. You won't get this kind of transparency from mainstream media. Ground News is a lot like this show, actually. They're doing what we're doing. So just go to ground.news/JD or just scan the QR code on the screen. We're offering my viewers 40% off the same plan I use, which gets you unlimited access to all their features. This knocks the price down to just $5 a month. Subscribing not only supports an independent news platform working to make the media more transparent, it also supports this show and everything we do here. Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Toronto, Red Bank, New Jersey, Northampton, Massachusetts, Concord, New Hampshire, Oxnard, California, Rutherford, New Jersey, New York, Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.